Joining us today is Mr. Mehran Marri, the Baloch representative at United Nations and the European Union. Mr. Marri, thank you very much for joining us on Republic TV.
You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Marri, there has been, Balochistan has been in the news, and most recently, the series of attacks that have been happening on Jaffar Express, the BLA has been taking responsibility. I want to understand from you, where is Balochistan going?
Balochistan is at a state of war, and it has been for the past few decades, especially for the last 2 decades. It has been under brutal military oppression and under state terrorism by Pakistan. Now, Pakistan is carrying out state terrorism relentlessly throughout Balochistan. It's killing civil populations, women and children. Everybody talks about Ukraine and Gaza. We are suffering exactly the same fate as the people in Gaza. I call it an open-air prison. We are in a prison in Balochistan where no media is allowed to enter. No foreign journalists or fact-finding missions are allowed to come and investigate the brutalities carried out by the Napak army. And at the same time, we are being criminalized and internationally to show that we are terrorists. They have urged the United States and other international powers to designate Baloch fighters as terrorists. People like myself, who represent Balochistan in the United Nations and in the international community, we have been marginalized and, how can I say, we've been confined. So many international organizations have fallen into the hands of the Napak establishment by condemning us and maligning us and not allowing us to take our case on the international platforms for an international resolution to this conflict. Nobody likes war. Nobody would like to promote war or be part of war because it brings death and destruction. And we know that more than anybody else, I think, in the region. Bengalis faced it for a very short time, but for us, it has been protracted, and it's been a lengthy, ugly war at the hands of the Napak army.
Okay. But then talking about, I mean, you've been saying that Pakistan has been occupying Balochistan, so to say, from 1948. You said that the ongoing, the conflict, or rather than the ongoing push, so to say, has been going on for the past 2 decades. Where is, when you launch an attack, when a BLA attacks Jaffar Express, isn't it damaging the reputation of the BLA and, forcing the international community, like the US, for example, to recognize you as a militant organization? Do you think that has not been working for you?
I absolutely understand your point, but I would like to question the international community or the international powers. Where have they been? Well, Napak army is carrying out aerial bombardments in civilian areas, killing the Baloch, massacring the Baloch for the last 70 years. Where is the international community? Where are these major powers? Suddenly, they become very sensitive to attack on a train or some Punjabi soldier getting killed. They get really sentimental and humane about this. What about our lives? Are we the children of a lesser God? Are we lesser human beings? Are our lives meaningless and Punjabi lives more worth noting? Absolutely not. The Baloch nation is going to stand for itself. We're not going to let the Punjabis butcher us and kill us. And we will just stay silent so that the international community doesn't think we are bad people. No, we do not want to be sheep taken to the slaughterhouses by the Punjabis forever and ever. They have been taking us for the last 70 years. We will not allow that.
Okay. They say that every war has a purpose. What's the purpose of this war? Is there a timeline? Are you looking at a timeline that, okay, by this date we are expecting this kind of an outcome? What's the purpose of this war, sir?
The timeline should have been yesterday, but that's not the case because we are alone in this war. If we had international powers on our side, if we had India on our side, there would be a substantial difference in our status today from what we are. The thing is, we are struggling for the restoration of our territorial integrity and our sovereignty. It's an internationally recognized right that we have, which was usurped by the Pakistani army and its generals and its fake rubber stamp politicians who justify this occupation in the International Human Rights Council, in the Security Council, all the international platforms. They do not recognize us as an independent entity, whereas we are. They just classify us as a little region of Pakistan. We're not. We're 64% of the land mass of Na Pakistan. We are the entire coastline of Na Pakistan. You can see recently Mullah Munir and the rubber stamp politicians parading in suitcases in front of Donald Trump, the rare minerals stones that we have in Balochistan, telling them to buy, like marketing agents. And yesterday, the rubber stamp Prime Minister of Pakistan was in Malaysia with the same suitcase, showing it to the Malaysian government to buy our rare earth minerals. Is that a joke? We're being butchered and our wealth is being marketed on the international platforms. Absolutely wrong. Like blood diamonds are illegal. It's illegal to trade in blood diamonds, like from the Democratic Republic of Congo or other African countries. It should be illegal to trade in Baloch rare minerals because this is on the expense of our blood. They're stealing it from our country and selling it on international markets. It's a criminal act.
So are you necessarily doing this to deter the Pakistan government from exploring rare earths? What will you do in case US tomorrow decides that, okay, Pakistan has a huge reserve of rare earth minerals, let's go and start excavating? What will your action be?
I really hope that sense prevails over US administration and Donald Trump himself, and he realizes, of course, the rare earth minerals, we're not going to take it to our grave with us. We want to sell it on international markets. We want to sell it for the betterment of the Baloch nation, but it should not be sold through illegal brokers from Punjab. The military mullah Munir cannot sell our minerals and our wealth on the international market to any third country. We have the right to sell our minerals on the open market. They don't. This is what we hope that the Chinese have to an extent realized that. I think they were being played along for the last 25 years by the Pakistani military that yes, we will kill the Baloch off. The CPEC will be a very prosperous project for the Chinese and the Pakistanis. They realize that they're being, probably cheated to another dimension. They've taken all the money. The military men have bought their houses in Canada, in UAE, and the other Arab countries, and Australia. And that project is a failure because 85–90% of that project is on the landmass of Balochistan. So the Chinese have to speak to us in order to make it successful, not to the Punjabis.
Okay. Pakistan is right now staring at an anarchy. We're looking at a POK, which is, there are massive protests going on against the Pakistan government. And then you have the Balochistan, where there are attacks obviously on the, the Pakistani regulars. Do you think the current economic state of Pakistan makes you probably at the best place in history to achieve the freedom, so to say, that you've been advocating for or fighting for?
Yes, there's more factors than that. Yes, economically, it's really at a weak state. And I'd just like to bring in another point. There's a guy called Bilal bin Saqib. He is the crypto guy in Washington, and he's a lobbyist for the Pakistani military. He was floating an idea that the next attack the Pakistanis are going to do, the military, is going to be on the Indian oil refineries. They're going to hit the economic hubs of India. So my suggestion to the Indian army is, although oil refineries, Indian economy is mainly not run by the state, it's run by individuals and companies and private companies. Whereas in Pakistan, everything is run by the military. If you want to weaken this rogue nation, you have to hit its military industrial complex. That's what I would call it. Everything is run by them, from making cornflakes to making constructing buildings to import-export of petrol, smuggling through Iran-Afghanistan border. They fuel international terrorism on the basis of all the finances that they receive on these bases. So reciprocatively, I think India should target these things. That will make our life a lot easier. I'm sorry, I got mixed up with your question. You said this is a good time. Yes, it is a good time for us to achieve our goals because Pakistan is at its weakest wicket right now. It does its little stunts, like, joining hands with the Saudi to scare India or Israel. I think neither Israel nor India is going to be bothered by that at all. I think if Saudis was such a strong force, then they would not need the help of Pakistan. So I don't think that really scares India or Israel. But for us, we are in search of partners because we are a reality in the future in the region. And we are going to be a stable neighbor for India, Iran, Afghanistan, and everybody else to the Soviet republics, uh, previous Soviet republics as well, to Kazakhstan, Tajikistan. We will be a good partner in this. So we are appealing to all the regional powers and players to help the Baloch cause of independence.
Okay. You're already, I mean, no one knows better than you that diplomacy is one of the important elements while wanting to achieve these kind of goals. You're, in fact, the representative at the United Nations as well as the European Union. What are you diplomatically doing to win these partners that you're seeking?
Unfortunately, in my experience, I've realized in the international forums, international platforms, hypocrisy is far more powerful than what do you call it, a democracy or Pakistan's hypocrisy is selling like hotcakes on the international markets. It comes. Have you seen their speeches in the Security Council? How they speak about Kashmir, how they speak about Gaza. You would think they're the world champions of human rights and human dignity. And I'm talking about these people belong in the gutters. These Pakistani generals should be hung upside down for what they did in Bangladesh. They raped 200,000 women. They killed over 1 million people. And yet they walk around with stars and badges on their shoulders. They should be hung upside down. They should not be allowed on international forums or even to enter. So hypocrisy is is selling for them. And why? Because the whole world is silent. Everybody is turning a blind eye to all the terrorism and the inhumane treatment of the Baloch, the Kashmiris, the Pashtuns, the Sindhis, committed by the Punjabi yoke, which is controlled by the army. Everybody's quiet. Once the people raise their voice, everything will fall into place.
But then when I look at Balochistan, within Balochistan itself, the various groups look like fragmented groups. Who is your leader? Who is that one voice that is representing Balochistan on the international forum?
It's not a matter of one voice or one person. We, as a Baloch nation, we stand together. Yes, of course, regional elements are there, tribal elements are there. We are a tribal society, so everybody has an allegiance to a certain tribe or the head of a certain tribe. But I think, like the world has evolved, so have we. We have evolved. Our tribal affiliation is a personal thing, but our national liberation aspirations are a national thing. We, all the Baloch from different tribes, from different regions, from north, south, east, west, we all aspire to be independent and sovereign and want to to safeguard our integrity and our dignity, which has been undermined for the past 70 years. Our women and children are not safe. Our men are not safe. Our youth are not safe. Pakistan is having free reign over there. Whenever they choose, they abduct people, they rape them, they mutilate their bodies and throw them on the streets. They have the audacity not even to hide their crimes. And they've got death squads. These are low-life Baloch miscreants who work for the Punjabi army, who work for death squads. Like the sitting chief minister in Balochistan works for a death squad. He's the head of a death squad. So the reality on the ground is very gruesome and very grim. So therefore, the Baloch have to take a steadfast role in achieving their goals.
Have you approached India for support?
I think my jaw is tired from appealing to Indians for the last 25 years on every forum. One of our leaders had said we will even reach out to Satan if it's going to help us to counter Pakistan and Pakistan army, to safeguard the rights of the Baloch people. India is a neighboring country. It's India's responsibility, I think, because with great power comes great responsibility, and India should show that responsibility. And can you imagine? The latest terminology for us is Fitna ul Hind. This is Pakistan state has classified us as Fitna ul Hind. Can you imagine? And yet India is silent on us. India should come to the forefront of this. I think not only diplomatic help, it should give military help and military support for the independence of Balochistan, like it did with Bangladesh.
Could you be a bit more specific about the kind of attack on the Indian oil refineries that you spoke about? Who is talking about it? Who is the group? Which is the group that is planning? What's going on? Could you be a little more specific on that?
It's just hearsay. People affiliated with the Pakistani ISI in Washington, I've heard from them on social media everywhere. They sit, and there's one guy, Lal Topi guy, the ISI spokesman. He wears a red cap and always talks against Baloch and Indians and everybody else. And once he spoke against the Saudis as well. I think they imprisoned him for a couple of weeks and sort of usko pitai karke, then they let him go. So they are saying things like this. So this is just speculation, but it is coming from the mouths of the ISI affiliated people. All I'm saying is India has to wake up.
One concluding question. At the UN and at the EU, what is your next step?
I think after the Second World War, the United Nations was the primary forum where people would come for conflict resolutions. But unfortunately, my experience has been the opposite. People with grievances are targeted over there, are marginalized, as myself. I was banned from Switzerland for 10 years on the behest of the Pakistani army because their wealth is stolen in Swiss bank accounts. So I think the United Nations should be moved to a country like the UK, France, or Germany, a country with a backbone, a country that can stand up for itself, a country that will not be arm twisted by Pakistanis. If a country like Pakistan can twist the arms of Switzerland, then I don't think the United Nations belongs there.
So you will necessarily be continuing your diplomatic efforts as well as the ongoing attacks, so to say, on the Pakistan army. Are they likely to continue?
I think the Baloch are defending themselves against this brutal occupier. So if whatever means they use, of course, for defense, they will use every means possible. And as for us in the international forum, yes, we will continue our diplomatic efforts and we will continue our search for friends and sympathizers in the international community.
Wonderful. Mr. Marri, thank you very much for talking to us. We'll keep tracking the developments in the area and keep coming back to you and in whichever way possible report on the cause that you've taken up. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.